Good morning. This is Thursday morning, and welcome to Conversations with Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, as usual, we've become like some good partners.
That's right.
I'm not going to talk about some of the other things we share, but someday we're going to explore some of those things. Today, we are continuing the conversation with Dr. Johnson on the Boston Heart Diagnostics and some recommendations that we have around that. So, Dr. Johnson, yesterday we were talking about cholesterol and lipids.
Yes.
So, can you just give us again an overview around that and some of the interventions that you would typically recommend from a natural perspective,
Sure,
including
sure.
some prescriptions?
Sure. Well, first of all, understand that cholesterol is not just a boogeyman. We need cholesterol. We cannot survive without cholesterol. But like most things in life, we don't want too much of a good thing. And so if your cholesterol level is too high, which happens to almost all of us as we age, then it can start to do some bad things and be involved in the formation of plaque in our arteries. It may not be as important as some of the other risk factors, but it is a risk factor and should not be ignored.
Yeah.
And there are several things. If we have high cholesterol, the first thing we want to do is make sure your thyroid function is not low, because that will almost always trigger high cholesterol. And so if you have low thyroid, we want to treat that.
And how would you treat the low thyroid?
Well, by giving a pill that the patient takes once every morning after breakfast that contains bioidentical thyroid.
Okay. And so that's a prescription.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, indeed.
And so you were talking about that balancing of cholesterol, not too low, not too high. Most of cholesterol is managed through the liver.
Correct.
And so is it typically liver function that may be at fault, or diet, or what? What would trigger, as we age, this increasing level of cholesterol?
Okay. So as we age, our metabolism tends to slow down.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is under the control of thyroid.
Yeah.
Well, cholesterol is a critically important building block for our metabolism. Okay? You cannot survive without cholesterol. So if your thyroid is declining as you age, that means the metabolic building blocks are not getting used up as fast, and they stack up in the pipeline, and your level goes higher.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And so in that cholesterol space where we talk about LDL, HDL, and LPA, as we mentioned yesterday, what are the sets of nutraceuticals that you recommend typically for intervention?
Okay, well, first of all, by way of comparison, in mainstream medicine, they're usually going to prescribe a statin, which I don't prescribe because there are certain toxic aspects to it.
Yeah.
We can prescribe a natural red yeast rice. We can prescribe phosphatidylcholine. We can prescribe niacin. So there are
And I know I'm taking this niacin, but you told me that the time release one was not good. So we're getting a prescription, which is the fast release niacin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I realize that sometimes when I take niacin, I'm like flushed.
Well, that's why people don't like to take niacin, because in almost everybody, it triggers a flushing to some degree.
Yeah.
Flushing means that your skin kind of turns red. Now, we may not be able to see that on you, but
You feel it.
yeah,
Yes.
but you feel
It's a feeling.
you feel kind of a warm, tingly sensation.
Yeah. We go purple. And you've never seen me go purple, right?
Never seen you go purple. Not sure I want to.
Exactly. All right. So you gave us a couple of examples there. So let's talk about, but there's this whole then issue about our fats and good fats. You know, there's a lot of conversation about omega-3 and omega-6 balance and ratios. Can you give us just a brief conversation around that?
Okay. So there are several different kinds of fats. We commonly divide them into omega-3 and omega-6. Yeah. We need some of each. However, the modern American diet contains tons of omega-6 and very little omega-3. So most Americans need to take some omega-3s, which is gotten mostly through fish oil. Has to be good quality. Most fish oil is rancid before it's ever sold. And
That's why you can smell them in the stores when you go, when people buy cheap fish oil. Cheap fish oil, no, not good for you.
yes, if you can smell that the fish oil smells fishy or tastes fishy, throw it away.
Yes.
You've got to have fresh, high quality, non-rancid fish oil. You can get some omega-3s from flax oil and walnut oil.
Yeah, for the vegetarians, they
yeah.
can get the flaxseed
Yeah.
oil or avocado oil
Yes.
or any of those very high quality oils, so olive oil, virgin olive oil.
Yes.
Right.
Now, there are also saturated fats and unsaturated fats. And the conventional thinking is that we should completely avoid saturated fats because they're all bad for us. And that is absolutely not correct. We need some saturated fats in our diet. The healthiest saturated fats come from organically raised, grass-fed butter.
Yes, I have those. I cooked some beans with those last night.
Okay.
Grass-fed butter.
Yeah.
And ghee.
Yes.
How do I know all these things, doctor?
Well, you're smarter than the average bear.
See me shivering in the shower of this praise. Yes. So and so a lot of people think the ghee and the butter is really not good for you, and you're saying very clear that those are very good fats.
Yes, but it has to be organic grass-fed.
Yes.
If you have a corn-fed, organically fed cow, the butter from that cow is not going to be good for you.
Yeah, it must be grass-fed.
Grass-fed.
Yeah,
yes.
but most Americans don't know what grass looks like. Yeah.
Well, go out to your front lawn and see those cows grazing out there.
Exactly. All right. So that was the conversation around lipids. Now let's go to the metabolics, which is really around our sugar metabolism.
Yes.
So why is sugar metabolism such a big problem?
Well, it's such a big problem because the average American eats way too much sugar, okay? In ancient times, before grocery stores existed, if you wanted something sweet, you're probably going to satisfy your sweet tooth with fruit.
Yes.
Maybe a little honey.
And you had to wait when they were in season.
Yes, exactly. Now sugar is everywhere. We should ideally consume only a few grams of sugar a day, ideally. But yet a typical soda is going to have something like 40 or 45 grams of sugar just in one can.
Or even a bowl of rice. I've found out that even the rice has a lot of sugar.
Well, it's actually a lot of starch, but the problem is your body almost instantly converts that starch into sugar.
Yes.
So that's why we want to cool off the rice after we cook it, then reheat it the next day, and now that starch has been turned into something called resistant starch.
Wonderful. I didn't know this. Let us repeat that point because all these Vietnamese friends I have, Korean friends and Chinese friends, who were gonna kill me because I say you should stop eating rice. So they can actually boil the rice, cool it down, and the next day when they heat it, it's become a resistant rice.
Yes.
Dr. Yika, can you listen to this? Because Dr. Yi is a rice fanatic.
That's what I do all the time.
Yeah. So
Now, you can also do the same thing with potatoes.
okay, which one?
Your
Sweet potatoes or Irish potatoes?
Well, white potatoes, Irish potatoes.
All right.
Sweet potatoes and yams are fine to just eat as
they're
is.
resistant starches.
But your boiled potatoes, your baked potatoes should be cooked, refrigerated overnight, and reheat them the next day. And now that starch will largely resist being broken down into sugar. And once it resists, it passes through your colon and it feeds your friendly bacteria in your gut. So you have a double whammy of good things. Okay?
So it means that we should always keep our potatoes and rice and eat the next day.
Yes.
Yeah, not immediately. Vincent, pay attention to that. Right? Boil your rice. Always have rice in circulation.
Hilarious.
As you're eating the one that came out from the fridge, you're putting the new one into the fridge, right? That way you have a continuous supply of resistant starchy rice. Very good.
So tell me, why are you picking on Vincent today?
Because Vincent loves rice, just like Dr. Yi, just like Karen, just like Mike. They're all rice lovers. They were going to die on the sword of rice.
Hilarious.
Yes. Or noodles, rice noodles, right? Okay, people who then, yesterday you were elaborating on insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance.
Yes.
So explore that a bit and then tell us some interventions that we use to address it.
Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of repetition here, but the idea is this. Our cells burn sugar to create energy, okay? And when we eat food and the sugar gets into our bloodstream, it cannot get into the cells by itself. It needs insulin to act as a key to unlock the door so that the sugar can get into the cells. In the modern American diet, where we eat too much sugar and starch and our blood sugar goes high, that forces our pancreas to create more insulin to escort this extra sugar into the cells. The problem with that is a vicious cycle develops, because the more insulin you have around, the more your cells say, no, back off. I'm becoming resistant to your attempts to get sugar in.
Yeah.
So the first step towards diabetes is to develop this insulin resistance, and it's extraordinarily common. Almost everybody who is significantly overweight is going to have insulin resistance to some degree, which untreated will lead to prediabetes, which untreated will lead to diabetes.
So what interventions do you recommend for people like us as we're growing older and obviously we're already at the pre-diabetic stage?
Well, obviously we got to eat healthy.
Yes.
Avoid the sugars and starches.
That is tough.
That is tough.
Yes.
We all have a sweet tooth. We're all human.
We can go now with the resistant starches.
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
And what else?
Okay, so we got to eat healthy. We've got to do our best to maintain our ideal weight. Okay. Cinnamon is a wonderful supplement to bring blood sugar down. Chromium is a wonderful supplement. Berberine is a extraordinarily bitter herb that is a wonderful supplement.
Berberine.
Yes.
Yes.
What else you got there? Berberine, yes.
Yes, we have a metformin.
Yes, metformin is a prescription that was originally designed for diabetics to keep their blood sugar down where it belongs. It's been found to be extraordinarily useful for prediabetes and insulin resistance. And in fact, there's anti-aging research going on right now using metformin as an anti-aging prescription.
Yeah.
And the preliminary results are indicating that people who take metformin, even if they don't have an insulin resistance problem to begin with, they tend to live about 10 years longer than people who don't take metformin.
Vincent, do you hear that? Yeah, I know you want to live a long life, so you should be on metformin. So everybody should get a prescription of metformin. And do you recommend 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams, or what's the recommendation?
500 milligrams twice a day would be the recommendation. Now, there are diabetics where 500 milligrams twice a day doesn't do the trick, and we have to go up to 1,000 twice a day.
Okay, you have a question?
So is this like saying, because you see the Bayer,
Louder.
You see the Bayer commercials where it says like 1 Bayer a day reduces, is like a blood thinner.
Yeah, the baby aspirin,
So
yes.
is that the same kind of concept with metformin?
Well, I mean, in a sense that it makes sense for a lot of people to use it preventively, yes. Bayer aspirin is over the counter, metformin is prescription.
Yes.
Now, will it always be prescription? Will it eventually be over the counter? Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the point that Karen was making was that the aspirin really is about inflammation,
Yes.
and metformin is really about the sugar metabolism.
Yes.
All right.
Well, the aspirin is about inflammation and also blood clotting.
Blood clotting. Yes.
If you got thick, sticky blood, it helps. It's a mild blood thinner.
So
Yes.
is it something that can be easily prescribed?
Metformin?
Yes.
Yes.
Any doctor can prescribe it.
Yes.
Now, most mainstream doctors don't know about this research and probably would be hesitant to prescribe it for their non-diabetic patients, but they certainly can prescribe it if they choose to.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're coming to the close, so we have
Okay.
2 topics left. We're going to talk about circulation,
Okay.
and then we're going to talk about kidney and liver.
Okay?
Yeah. So there is this emerging stuff that I take, which is the NOx, nitric oxide.
Yes.
So this is new, right?
Well,
the
it's
whole thinking about this.
relatively
Yeah.
new.
You talk to us about it, Doc.
Okay. So, yeah, there are several different ways to get your nitric oxide level up. This is one of them. I had my Neo 40 this morning.
Yes.
The basic idea is that nitric oxide is a critically important, tiny, fleeting molecule in the human body that, among other functions, helps keep our arteries open and relaxed. With this open, relaxed artery, I'm sure it's obvious that you can get much better blood flow through that artery, okay? And there's a simple test we can do on the spot with a fresh saliva sample that'll tell us what
The
your...
strip test.
Yes, tell us what your nitric oxide level is. Now, as young people, we tend to produce plenty of nitric oxide. As we age, we tend to produce less and less nitric oxide. The very first time I did the nitric oxide test several years ago, my nitric oxide levels were almost zero.
Wow. Because you didn't know about it? Or
I didn't know about it.
You were a doctor. So how come you didn't know about it?
Well, it was brand new at the time.
I thought you were supposed to know everything, Doc.
Well,
being in emergency medicine and everything.
I can't know about research that hasn't been published yet. That's the problem.
Okay. So I wanted to test your nitric oxide right now, Doc, and see whether your nitric oxide levels are very good.
Well, that's a good idea because now we'll get to find out if I need to take more of this Neo 40.
And I'm going to.
So we need to see the the color bar here that tells us where we're at, and we have to keep this sealed. If we leave the lid off, these dry out, and then they're not very accurate.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm still not testing as good as I would like to. Neither are you.
Yes.
Can we see the?
I tested better than you did, but
Yes. I have not taken mine yet.
but this is not optimal. So I'm going to up my dose.
So we can look at the results here, and I am really low, and Doc is almost medium.
Medium, yeah.
So I'm low on my nitric oxide, and Doc is medium. So we're going to be taking our Neo 40s after this.
So something very interesting to know about this. Some men claim that this Neo 40 supplement, it works better than Viagra.
Yes, because of the vasodilation.
Well, the reason that Viagra works is because it increases the nitric oxide in certain areas of the body.
That drug was discovered just for men. And this also, it's a good one. Hey, look at it again. So if you're running out of Viagra, this is a backup plan for you. Right, just have this in case your Viagra runs out.
Hilarious.
So the nitric oxide, and this is amazing, it includes vitamin C, B12, folate, and the proprietary nitric oxide blend. So I take the Neo 40, but we also have it as a powder form that you can actually mix in your smoothie for daily. So we will be taking our nitric oxide to supplement. So the other thing that tends to happen, Doc, is that as people have diabetes issues with metabolism and lipids and things like that, the liver and the kidney are ultimately affected. So what are some preventive interventions around the kidney and liver area?
As it relates to circulation.
Correct.
Well, in general, anything you do that improves circulation anywhere in the body is going to improve circulation everywhere in the body, okay? Having said that, if you want to keep your liver healthy, then you need to take liver detoxifying supplements.
Okay.
We're all exposed to toxins every day of our lives, and so many of us are exposed to so many toxins that we're always playing catch up. We're never fully detoxified. So there's a wonderful supplement, I believe the one you have here is called Protect.
Yeah, the Protect, yes.
Which is extremely powerful liver detoxification.
Yes. Can you bring us a copy of the Protect? Yes.
This is made from a very concentrated organic broccoli seed extract.
Correct.
Which has this effect of speeding up the liver's detoxification. When we have a patient come in with elevated liver function enzymes, it tells us that the liver is struggling. It's having to work harder than it wants to. And almost without exception, a month's worth of Protect will get their liver function tests back to normal.
Wow, just 1 month supply.
Yep.
Broco Protect.
Now, in most cases, it makes sense to then drop it down to a maintenance dose so that you will continue to stay detoxified long term.
Yeah, so but would you recommend just a daily detox or also like every quarter you do like a full 7-day detox to clean that up and provide the underlying enzymes to support?
Well, I believe that the optimum way of doing this is because, you know, we never know when we're exposed to toxins. Maybe I went to Costco yesterday and unbeknownst to me, they had just sprayed the whole place with bug spray.
Yeah.
Well, I have no way of knowing that, but yet I'm exposed to it.
And you're going to take that in.
So I believe that the ideal thing is to do a big detox for 1 month and then stay on a chronic maintenance dose.
That's interesting.
Typically, we take 2 pills twice a day for a month. And
for
then,
the Broco Protect.
Yes, and then after that, 2 pills once a day. And that will help you stay detoxified long term.
Wonderful, that's important. So so that was the liver. What about the kidney? What are some of the ways in which we can keep our kidney optimized and prevent? Because you know we have an epidemic of kidney problems in America.
Yes.
Lots of dialysis.
Yes.
Which is the end state for kidney failure and things.
Yeah. Well, just very briefly, because this could lead to a whole additional segment here.
Which will be next week.
But heavy metal toxicity, chronic, not acute, chronic heavy metal toxicity is rampant in this country. Almost 100% of adults have some degree of chronic heavy metal toxicity if the testing is done properly, which it rarely is. You have to understand heavy metals don't live in the bloodstream. They get deposited deep in your tissues, your brain, your bones, your eyes, your heart, your liver, your kidneys, your muscles, etc. And so to do a proper heavy metal test, we have to give the patient something that will pull the metals out of the tissue where we can then collect them and measure it.
Yes. And that's the chelation, is that?
Chelation.
Chelation.
Yes.
Chelation.
Yes.
Thank you. I always say chelation.
Yes. So heavy metals are toxic to every cell in your body, but especially toxic to kidneys. So doing a heavy metal detox is certainly a very important thing. Probably the second thing is there are some Americans that eat way too much protein. And too much protein is toxic to your kidneys. If you're eating a piece of protein about the size of a deck of cards or a little bit smaller, if you're eating that amount of protein at every meal, that is appropriate. But if you're eating more than that, if you're going to the steakhouse, ordering the 24-ounce porterhouse, oh my gosh, that's 6 meals
Well,
worth.
but the point is that there was a time where I had Korean barbecue almost in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. So I need to really do a detox of my kidney.
Yeah.
Too much protein.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I wanted to summarize, just close out. Thank you. We've looked at the lipids. We've looked at our sugar metabolism. Today we didn't address inflammation. We're going to talk about that next week.
Okay.
And also we're going to go deeper into the kidney function issues and interventions next week. So another day, ending conversations with Dr. Johnson. And as usual, Dr. Johnson being my liberal brother, I'm bringing him over to the right side of the fence. Thank you again for a wonderful conversation, Dr.
Okay,
Johnson.
don't believe everything Charles says. And I do want to make one final statement here.
Please.
Good health is not expensive. It's priceless.
Ooh.
Thank you very much. And just before we go, that's the Broco Protect.
Do we have a question?
Yes, the Broco Protect, and you were saying that you should take 2 a day.
2 pills twice a day for a month.
And then
follow up
pills
with 2
one
once a day.
Yes. And our pricing of this beautiful product is just $78. Like he said, priceless. Question.
Yes, we have a couple questions. First question is, you said that if the fish oil is rancid or you can smell it, throw it away.
Yes.
So is there a negative effect if you do take bad fish oil, or it's just not effective?
No, it's actually bad for you. It's actually toxic to you. It's a very complicated process that's beyond the scope of our discussion here, but
we'll go too much into deep biochemistry.
it is actively bad for you. It's like putting poison in your body.
Got you.
So this is like, I chew about 4 or 6 of this every day.
And it smells like lemon.
And it's beautiful product. So those are the EPA, DHA, omega-3s, yes. What was the next question?
The next question we have,
Oh, no. We don't have one.
you don't have one? No?
All right, okay. So was that it? So join us again. Dr. Johnson will be driving back to the desert. He likes it really hot. He'll be driving back to the desert this afternoon. So Dr. Johnson, next Tuesday,
Yes.
we'll continue this conversation. And very, very entertaining talking to you and partnering with you on this.
Very good.
And I learn something every day, a lot actually. Thank you for your
Excellent.
friendship and for this conversation.
And thanks again for having me.